Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to another bookish video. This is very overdue. I don't even want to talk about how overdue this video is. We are literally more than a week into September. I have not read a single book or a single page. We're not going to talk about it. And instead of calling this a September TBR, we are going to call it September and kind of into the fall hopefuls. Because I only have 5 books on it just because we are already like more than a week into the month and I haven't read anything and I am a slow reader and we're not going to get into that story again. But let's go through my September TBR. I have bought so many more books again this month and so many like cozy fall fantasies and fall books that I'm excited to get into. But if you're interested in seeing a full like almost 20 book haul, stay tuned because that'll be going live on my channel very soon. And if you're not already following me on TikTok, what are you doing? Really? Apparently Pluto wanted to come say hi. Do you want to come up? You are getting so freaking heavy, dog. Hi, this is Pluto. He's getting so big that to the point where I almost can't pick him up anymore. Anyways, if you're not already following me on TikTok, what are you doing? Because I post more bookish content over there as well as all of my like TBRs and wrap-ups on there first before they go live to my YouTube channel. But let's get into the 5 books that are on my TBR for this month while Pluto chews off my hand. Okay, you have to go down, bibs. We're gonna start off with a book that was on my August TBR that I never got around to. I think there were like three books on my August TBR that I didn't get to because I kind of slipped in some books that weren't on my TBR as per usual. But we're gonna start with Lightlark by Alex Astor. You guys already know this was on my TBR from last month. It is on there again. This is probably the first book that I think I'm actually going to pick up this month. So maybe once I'm done filming this video, I'll go and sit and read for a little bit. Lightlark by Alex Astor. A little bit hot, a little bit controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. It is about a competition that happens every 100 years for the 6 rulers of each kind of different island that each have their own curse. It is a magical trials YA romantasy. I feel like if you are on a book talk, you've heard about this book way too much, but at the same time like not enough, because I feel like people have stopped talking about this series a little bit, but the 3rd book in the series is coming out very soon, so I did want to read the first 2 books, kind of see what the hype was about and make a judgment call for myself, because I feel like book talk is so divided on this book. Like I said, some people love it, some people hate it. Here we are. The 2nd book on my TBR, so excited for this one, but it is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This is book 2 in the Caraval trilogy. I read book 1, Caraval, last month and I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And so this month in September, I'm putting Legendary on the TBR. In this book, we are going back into the magical world of Caraval, but this time we are following Donatella instead of Scarlet. If you've read the first book, you know that it is more focused on Scarlet, the older sister, and Donatella is kind of like the prize of the Caraval, whereas in this book, we are now following Donatella. Basically, Tella has to go through another Caraval, and this time she is playing the game to try and find out who Legend really is, because she made a kind of dangerous bargain with him and now just really wants to uncover his identity so she can kind of go on living her life essentially. But I thought the first Caraval book was very magical and I loved Stephanie Garber's writing style, so I'm excited to dive into this book. Next up, you'll notice that I kind of have a little bit of a fall TBR card situation going on here. This is usually here, but not usually in my videos. I like push it off to the side, but I thought we would keep it here because now the top part is all covered with books and I'm kind of here for it. But the only romance that is on my TBR for September is Happy Place by Emily Henry. Last month I read People We Meet on Vacation by her and I absolutely loved it. After sharing my thoughts on People We Meet on Vacation and just hearing what other people thought of not only that book but Emily Henry as a whole as an author, so many people do not like People We Meet on Vacation or like think it is like one of her worst books. And so many of you guys recommended Happy Place to me, so it is the next Emily Henry book that I picked up. And I have very high expectations for this book because I gave People We Meet on Vacation a 5 out of 5 stars. I'm expecting this to at least meet, if not exceed, that 5 out of 5 star rating. So Happy Place follows Harriet and Wynne, who were the ideal perfect couple in literally everyone's eyes until all of a sudden they weren't and they break up. And now during this breakup, they go on an annual trip with their big group of friends and end up having to, of course, share a bedroom. So they have to pretend that they're still the perfect couple, madly in love, because they haven't told anyone that they've broken up. And it follows them on this trip during this 1 week, and basically like the question of, can they fake their romance to their friends and will they fall in love again? Next up on my TBR is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, and I am not going to lie, I am going into this book absolutely blindly. I have just seen it all over TikTok, and I know it's a bunch of authors' favorite book as well, that it's just beautifully written and the prose is amazing, as well as all of the characters and storylines. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know much about this book other than it is a multi-pub and it follows a bunch of different characters down a similar storyline, and is also a like enemies to lovers book, which I love a good enemies to lovers. So I like often go into books blind, but I'm going into this book like very blind. Like I know quite literally like this much about what it is about. And the last book of my fall TBR is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I think that this is the book that I'm probably the absolute most excited to read this month, just because I think it is going to be the cutest, coziest, comfy fall fantasy, YA fantasy vibes. But basically this book follows our main character Kayla, who is a librarian at a magical library in the woods. Let's pause on that for a second, because first of all, how cute, cozy fall fantasy is that? The perfect fall vibes. The library ends up getting burnt down, and Kayla and her assistant have to go and find a whole new way of life, and she ends up finding work at a bake shop in the town, but isn't really feeling that that is where she's called to be, and ends up opening the town's first secret spell shop, and then also possibly falling in love. Let me read you guys the tagline, because I think it is too perfect. It is, like a Hallmark rom-com full of mythical creatures and fueled by cinnamon rolls and magic, the spell shop will heal your heart and feed your soul. I know that there's nothing in this that absolutely screams fall, like pumpkins, leaves, or anything like that, but just the vibes of it to me feel very cozy fall fantasy-esque, and I think will put me into the cozy September season. I'm thinking I'm gonna read this probably towards the end of September, beginning of October, to really sink into cozy season, and just with like something lighthearted and to put me in the fall vibes mood. Like I can imagine sitting on my couch with like a pumpkin spice latte or like a cozy cup of tea, some fall vibes on the TV. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. But that is it for my September TBR. I know it's a little bit shorter this month. Just like I was saying, it's already like over a week into the month that I haven't started reading anything, because the beginning of September was just so crazy busy and hectic for me. So I know this video is also going to be a little bit shorter, but I also want to keep it real and keep it realistic. Like I know there's so many of you guys too out there that only read like 2 to 5 books a month like me. Like I feel like I talked about this a little bit in my last video of how just feeling a little overwhelmed when I see so many book talkers and booktubers reading like 15+ books a month, and I just know that's not only not realistic for myself, but it's not realistic for so many of you guys out there as well. So I hope I can be a little bit of a safe space when it comes to slower reading and not reading as much in a month. But we'll see how many books I end up reading this month, because now that the month is slowing down a little bit, I think I'll pick up some books faster, as well as I have a trip to France at the end of the month. So I have a few like plane rides and train rides, which I'll probably just like read solidly on for a good like 6 hours. I don't know if I can actually sit and read for 6 hours straight, but we'll attempt to do that, because like why not just fill my train and plane rides with that time reading. So I'll also have to figure out like how many books I want to / can bring on that trip, because I also don't want to bring like a giant pile of books. But anyways, that is for another time. I feel like I am ranting and rambling, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little September TBR / books I hopefully will get to read this month. Again, I have a huge book haul coming soon, but I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!